Hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us on this evening's edition of Majority Caucus. My name is Ali Dawood, and I will be your regular host for tonight's discussion. We have about barely 48 days to election, and so momentum is being gathered. Campaign is being intensified. The NDC launch is Ashanti regional campaign over the weekend. And this week, the president, as we speak, is touring the Volta region. The president will go back to the Ashanti region because they had the benefit of the vice president. I'm not sure the president hasn't toured the Ashanti region yet, so he would go there. But the campaign launch of the Ashanti region happened this weekend, and so we will be taking a look at what happened there in Kumasi. Also important to mention that we would also take into account several other issues that is happening in the Ashanti region, what the president has done and continues to do in the Ashanti region. I'm referring to developmental issues and projects. We will discuss them. Those that you don't know, we will bring them to your notice. For those that you know, we're going to add some more. We will be right back after this break. Don't go away. And welcome back to the show. If you're just joining in, this is Majority Caucus, and we are live on your multi-TV on your Joy News channel. We will be showing you a footage from the Kumasi campaign launch by the NDC. It's also important to announce back in Accra, there was a massive Keep Fit walk in Ayawaso East and North. I was part of those who went on that walk. But we are not discussing Ayawaso East and North this evening. So just take a quick watch at this footage. We'll come back and I'll introduce my guest in the studio. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Just a slight challenge, but we'll resolve it. We'll make sure we show you the footage. But I have in the studio Mr. Zu Kwame, who is the Deputy Ashanti Regional Secretary, NDC. He came all the way from Kumasi just for this show. It shows how important this show is. It shows how he values this program and the viewers. Zu, welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. This is your first time of being here.
Of course, my maiden appearance.
And we are more than excited to have you. So, Ashanti region, there has been a lot of talks about Ashanti region. And you being a Deputy Regional Secretary, I'm sure you are in there. But we will get there. The operation 1 million, we will get there. The operation, we are taking some number of seats, we will get there. But the campaign launch over the weekend, very big. The Vice President was there. The national organizer, Kofi Adams, who also doubles as the national coordinator for the NDC campaign 2016 was there. How was it?
Undoubtedly huge. It was thrilling and incredible. For one, I was surprised at the avalanche of people who thronged the Jubilee Park. I mean, the passion, enthusiasm, and love displayed by the young people who thronged the Jubilee Park. And I think, I dare say, if elections could be won based to a large extent on the number of people who came there.
Hold on. The director indicates that we have the footage from the Ashanti region. So let's take a watch and we will be right back.
Ghana, Afa, Yetampra, Nefra. It's Yabaya, Nema Mienu. I say, Ubia, Oye Mapano, or the piano. It's a piano, John Mahama, Marcoso, Ayedwano. Number 2, I say, NDC for Yawaha, Yakwa, Yakoye Juano, Edwana Yahadi, Yano, Tietie, Yano, Pro, Yano, a die, Bebia, Nibawobia, Wama, at the Papa, John Mahama, Woman, a Yako, Neakotel with Mapa, Nomoso, Atuaba, Pa, Amai. And you, that's it. Yabano, no pay Yabano. They say you pay 1 million votes. 1 million votes was Ashanti. They beg you, Hano. Kofi Adams up at 1.5. Move to 2 million. Move 2 million. I'm ready. Me pay 1 million. But me 1.5 I'm ready. Me 2 million I'm ready. Madam was say, Madam was say. See by police station. And the army became and yeah, to your home keke. A report, any researcher, every police station on the bar a show. And the 1 million, no, they are too for and young cabio. I feel there a operation 1.5 million. Now in 24 regional level, Omubedano. Ama mu beye juma no ewo form na omuso ape ejuma no ho akade e de abremo na 1.5 million no yen sabeka no me beda won edi ene eti me bo mu dia penifo me sremo mombra ha na edom no omo ho de mo e na mo ye regional campaign team nia odikan Kwame
And welcome back to the show. That was the footage giving you an idea of what happened in Kumasi, Ashanti region over the weekend at the NDC regional campaign launch. I still have in the studio the Deputy Ashanti Regional Secretary for the NDC, Mr. Zu Kwame. Zu Kwame, you were telling us what happened in Ashanti region over the weekend regarding the campaign launch.
Yes, precisely. The interesting part about the composition of the crowd that came to the lunch is you would find that people from artisanal backgrounds wielding placards showing obvious gratitude for the many developmental projects that have come into the region. The most important group that I saw, and I was overly excited, was the KJT Market Women Association. In fact, it was mind-blowing.
The almighty KJT Market.
Surprisingly. And they held placards thanking the president for that monumental edifice that he's putting up in Kumasi precisely. Okay. And therefore, one could conclude, if crowd is anything to go by, I dare say there was no need for me to even come here.
Indeed.
Because of the avalanche of people who came to support
we
our
saw
campaign
some
launch.
people at trade fair and they said, oh, they had a very mammoth, rally, and that was very big. Therefore, the election is done and over with. And so, if we have a counter crowd in Kumasi, it's worthy of mentioning.
Interestingly, people who were even outside this country, I mean, people were in the UK as at the time we launched our campaign. The impact of our campaign launch has forced them and coerced them to a large extent to reschedule their itinerary. Today, they're in Ashanti region to see if they could consolidate their gains. But I think they are
they feel threatened?
They feel threatened. They are only trying to shut the staple after the horse has bolted.
Oh.
We have already worked, and the dividends are obvious. The good people of Ashanti region have chosen to make a decision based on development. And the developmental projects that we have brought to Ashanti region are so monumental. very monumental. So I am surprised that people who are beneficiaries of many of these projects are pretending not to be aware of the projects.
Okay.
Very, very pretentious.
Indeed.
And that cannot be it. Because if you have an alternative arrangement, if you have an alternative policy, I think you are allowed to table same. But to pretend as though nothing is happening in the face of incontrovertible evidence that you are even a beneficiary of most of these projects. To that extent, it's quite ridiculous. But the most important thing is Ashanti region has set the stage. That is not just the end, that is just the beginning of the many activities we are undertaking to garner our 1 million votes. I think it's achievable. We have done far more than enough. But what happened on Saturday was just the commencement of our door-to-door campaign. You know, that is our style, NDC.
Yes.
We have never taken, pleasure in relying absolutely on lavish campaign, extravagant campaign, dancing around the country and pretending that at the end of the day, dances have votes. Dances never have votes. We have seen different styles of dances, but eventually we have seen same people lose elections and lose overly, and eventually ended up in court. Indeed. But the point must be made that the readiness of Ashanti in itself is wonderful. I think it's incredibly wonderful. And one could only wait to see what Ashanti has to offer in this election. But I can say without any doubt, without any equivocation, that Ashanti is the region to watch in this election. The dynamics would be very interesting. Any pundit should focus extremely on Ashanti region because of the many projects that are ongoing and the many things we have put in place to garner our 1 million votes. But I'm convinced as a regional executive that the grassroots of the party, the real owners of the party, have spoken on Saturday. The enthusiasm, the excitement, the passion, and how they were upbeat about the whole program. I mean, at a point I was surprised. Hoisting of flags, people came out of nowhere uninvitedly, and they helped, they lent a hand, because people are beginning to see that NDC is the only political party for all, regardless of where you are coming from.
Indeed.
And therefore, we are embracing everybody in Ashanti region. We are on course.
Indeed, I have no doubt about that. That was a spot on, if you like, insight with regards to what happened. But in general, even prior to the campaign, how would you say the spirit of NDC within the stronghold of the opposition political party was faring prior to this campaign? Some have argued that because perhaps NDC felt threatened that the ambition to get 1 million votes is not a realistic one, and so they need to shore up some numbers with the semblance of showing popular and mass support, and that is what occasioned what happened over the weekend. What would you say about that?
I mean, you and I would concur that numbers for the screen have never won an election. You remember vividly the 2008 final rally of the MPP.
They hijacked all the
at Accra Academy Park. The numbers were overwhelming. But what did we see? Eventually, that couldn't culminate into electoral victory.
Indeed.
So as a party, we are fairly aware of the need for us to work on the grounds. We are not relying entirely or exclusively on the numbers. But mind you, I have heard very reasonable arguments that we deliberately bashed people to Kumasi to make a case that indeed we are strong on the grounds. You see, it was a regional campaign launch. It was not a Kumasi campaign launch. And Ashanti region goes beyond Kumasi.
Indeed.
I mean, literally, nobody can travel from Obuasi on foot to come for a campaign launch. Nobody can come from New Obuasi on foot. Vehicle. Definitely, you will be in a vehicle. And if coincidentally, you find a congregation of people moving towards a particular location on a day, naturally, you may expect to see many more of them in the buses that are heading that direction. So if out of euphoria, they are even singing and chanting songs along the line, you cannot conclude that it's a deliberate act that the party has bashed people from near Dubiasi.
As it happened to the MPP at Trade Fair. Well, I don't think all the people we saw that live around within the premises of Trade Fair, certainly they might have come from somewhere.
It was obvious. I think that is where the fear is. That is their, stock in trade, and the feeling is everybody else is copying.
Yes.
But we are different.
And theirs is national, by the way. Yours was just regional.
That is a beauty therein. That is a beauty therein. Like I said before, even those who professed in the beginning that the NDC's regional campaign launch wouldn't be successful are beginning to revise their notes. Like I mentioned, previously we never heard that Nana Addo will be touring Ashanti region. As I speak to you today,
It came out
he
of
has
the
landed
blue.
on the tarmacs of
In fact,
Kumasi
you were
International
shocked.
Airport. I was shocked. Hurriedly, they are preparing for Nana Addo to go and see what he can do to salvage.
What did he sense?
To salvage, he's intimidated. The crowd was intimidating.
He was very frightened.
Of course. I knew he wouldn't have been coming back anytime soon from his trip abroad. But based on the circumstances that are prevailing, he had to curtail the trip and quickly rush to Kumasi. I doubt if he can do anything to salvage the situation. Mind you, a few months ago, a stalwart of the MPP in Ashanti region, he has been a former regional minister of the party, Mr. S.K. Boafo, when Nana Addo toured, one of his many tours of the region, he came. And the man observed the terrain. He has been in the party for long. He has seen how MPP activities in the region has been characterized by happiness. But Nana Addo came, and the city was as dead as a cemetery. At a point, he admonished the party that whatever they could do to resuscitate the party, even if it means taking the party to an ICU, they should do to resuscitate the party.
The enthusiasm is lost.
It's wavering. People do not have confidence in the flag bearer. People do not believe that he has the capacity to superintend over the affairs of this country. People do not trust that he can be the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces and also the leader of the country. He has not exhibited enough, even within the ranks of his own political party, to merit an elevation to the national level. If what we are seeing, the epitome of violence that has characterized the MPP under the leadership of Akufo-Addo is anything to go by, one can confidently conclude that in the unlikely event he becomes the president of this country, you and I may have to leave the country.
Indeed.
He has not shown leadership. He hasn't. And people are observant. Ashanti is observant. They cannot continue to follow such leadership. And it is in review of all these circumstances and the many observations we have made as a party within the region that we are tempted to believe that possibly we may be doing far more than we have anticipated. But let's get there.
Hence the 1.5 billion.
Yes.
Hence the revision of your ambition.
May I crave your indulgence to be modest? May I crave your indulgence to be modest?
Indeed,
that is my style. But really, if you understand the dynamics in Ashanti and you know what is currently happening in Ashanti, you will not be surprised if NDC is revising its 1 million votes to 1.5 million. It is premised solidly on research and understanding of the dynamics.
Share with us.
Many constituency executives of the party feel intimidated. They are suppressed. They have divergent opinions. They cannot express their dissent openly because of the level of intimidation. You cannot continue to foster unity and peace and tranquility within the party through exclusion. That could only be done through consensus building.
Indeed.
But what has characterized the leadership of Akufo-Addo is simple. When you dissent with him, he feels the only way to guarantee a peaceful party and tranquility within the ranks of his party is to exclude you. How can you ever make gains with such a character?
When you're practicing democracy.
Virtually every member of the party who has been excluded has a following.
Yeah.
They won an election.
They come with a
They contested. They were competitive. If they were never competitive, they couldn't have won the elections. They were validly elected by a well-organized party structure. So what has changed? I am of the firm belief that Nana Addo's objective on 7th of December 2016 is any other thing than victory. I am not seeing him commit to victory. Were you not surprised? A political party in opposition. You have nothing doing, absolutely nothing doing. You are not governing. You do not have any ministerial appointment. You are not undertaking any diplomatic, state obligation. 2 months to election before you were able to release your manifesto.
And even that had, so much similarities
with that of APC.
The APC.
That of APC.
It's sad that APC has been disqualified.
Well, that is the very.
It still begs the question that how come there's these similarities?
That is the problem.
Between the two manifestos.
A very vague claims, that people had plagiarized a document that was non-existent.
Indeed.
Is that a definition of plagiarism? I mean, from your background, you could help me better.
I feel frightened.
Well, that is a little knowledge.
There has to be an original document for it to be plagiarized.
Precisely. But the reverse has become logical to our colleagues.
And we have been compelled to accept that as the norm.
That logic as the norm. You see, the standards have been set.
Okay.
The stage is set. You are either into the elections or you are not.
Okay.
When you are not prepared to fight the elections on issues, and you are not ready to go into the elections, do not make it the business to rock the boat. Don't make it difficult for those who have shown obvious commitment in the affairs of this nation.
Okay.
That is exactly what we are seeing. That people who obviously and predictably are not ready for an election are shifting blame on a daily basis. They are looking for people to blame. You see, I am a believer in faith, but I also believe in hard work. What you put in eventually is what you reap.
Indeed.
It's about reward and consequences.
Absolutely.
Eventually, the product you earn is an obvious display of the input you have made.
Okay.
If you have had 8 years at home to campaign, you do nothing. I'm not too sure he's still practicing law.
No, I don't think
You
so.
do nothing. You are just home, and you cannot put together a manifesto over an 8-year period. And hurriedly went and took that of Ayariga and presented to us 2 months to an election, turn around to blame him. Who would ever take you serious? Even if you cannot protect your own manifesto, what is the guarantee that you can protect our state assets?
State classified
You
documents.
cannot protect our assets. You can never do that.
If the reverse were to be true.
So there are issues, there are problems. But like I said, Ashanti is a region to watch. Pundits should focus on Ashanti. We have a lot up our sleeves, and we'll fight the battle where it is. We'll take steps to guarantee security and safety of our members. The difficulty we have encountered in times past is high levels of intimidation.
Okay. I was going
Some
to that.
eventually even culminate into physical assault. Our members were assaulted, they were sacked from polling stations, they were pursued. But in this election, we are prepared to protect every member of our party. People should be free and should be ready at all times to come out and exercise their democratic rights freely in the interest of this nation.
Okay, absolutely. The discussion is ongoing. We've been joined in the studio by Zu Kwame, Mr. Zu Kwame. He's the Deputy Regional Secretary for Ashanti Region, and he's helping us to dissect and have a very fruitful discussion of what happened over the weekend in Ashanti region. We've been talking so far about the dynamics within the Ashanti region and how ambitious of the NDC voter outlook is in that region. In fact, the Operation 1 Million has been revised, but of course, the Deputy Regional Secretary wants to remain humble, even though he also anticipates that NDC would far exceed the 1 million target. But we are talking about Ashanti region, but let me take your mind quickly to Bugri Nabu, all the way from the north. He has encouraged his supporters that they should go to the polling stations on 7th of November with cutlasses, hammers, cuddles, whatever they can arm themselves with. I don't know what the purpose is. Ashanti region has some flashpoints over the past years. I don't know if we are likely to see something similar, especially with pronouncement. We remember the All That Be Die, how it's incentivized people within the Ashanti region, you know, to visit mayhem or cause violence to people they believe they don't share their political ideology. Are we likely to see that now that they see NDC, you are so ambitious that you want to get the votes all the way to 1 million? Are we likely to see such chaos at some polling stations?
Bugri Nabu draws a shameful inspiration from his flag bearer. And once the head is rotten, the likelihood of the whole entire body being rotten is there.
Indeed.
I forgive him. He probably does not understand the repercussions of violence in elections. If he's thinking about the many children on the streets of Kumasi, Accra, Tamale, Cape Coast, and everywhere else, I'm not too sure he would have made the comment he made.
Okay.
It's very reprehensible. And I can guarantee that he will not have the opportunity to visit such mayhem on any Ghanaian. Probably as they have been doing to their own party members,
Okay.
that could suffice. But for us as citizens, we are protected. We have identified several flashpoints in Ashanti region. I think the Electoral Commission itself has published a number of them, and they are taking their steps together with the Regional Security Council to guarantee the safety and welfare of Ghanaians. But as a political party, I cannot, discuss issues of this nature on air. But I can only assure our teeming supporters that as a party in charge of a region, we have put measures and mechanisms in place to guarantee the welfare and generic security of all members of our party. Nobody should be scared. Nobody should be worried about those flamboyant comments of the MPP. They are simply meant, probably, to deter our people from coming out to undertake their lawful duties. But like I said, they can continue to visit such mayhem on their own. But we are ready and will protect our people before, during, and after the elections.
Absolutely. There's a new strategy that the MPP is putting in place. We know who Akufo-Addo is. We haven't forgotten his all die be die mantra. We haven't forgotten his inability, his refusal, his deliberate neglect to admonish Kennedy Japan over those regrettable ethnocentric comments that he made, that people of Akan background should visit mayhem on people they believe are non-Akans. Akufo-Addo kept mute on that. Many other regrettable incidents that Akufo-Addo could have exercised good leadership, he failed to seize the occasion to exemplify that. Now, he's being packaged as though he's the man of God. I also remember quickly that Atamils was described by Akufo-Addo and Sir John, then the then General Secretary, that they are not looking for pastors to govern the affairs of this country, and that if he thinks he wants to turn castle into church, he should find himself a church. You know, all these comments, just because the late President Mills was perceived to be a man full of righteousness, he's full of, he's so pious, he's clean. But the MPP was so uncomfortable with this image of Professor Mills. Today, Akufo-Addo would end his speech with verses from the Bible. That is amazing. And he says the battle is I don't know. I smell double stand. I smell opportunism. I smell an attempt to mock God, if you ask me. And I find that very reprehensible.
I am not surprised. You know, his protracted silence on issues of this nature has never been golden. And he has deliberately chosen to take charge of one of our strengths as a people, which could also be our weakness. We are highly religious people. Ghanaians are highly religious. So people who naturally are committed to religious issues, like Professor Mills the late, have benefited one way or the other for their genuine commitment to their religion
Genuine,
and faith.
honest commitment.
Having observed the trend and has realized that it is impracticable for him to win an election, he has chosen to adopt that which he isn't. And now he's playing to the tune and trying to please the gallery. But you see, Ghanaians are very clever people. A man who openly admonishes his party people that all die be die, under whose watch that Kennedy Japan has requested that Ewes and Gans should be lynched. And he found nothing whatsoever wrong with all these pronouncements. Cannot turn around overnight to become a saint. It's not possible. Sainthood is not achieved overnight. There should be obvious attempts that could be predictable for us to conclude on your character. We already know him, and Ghanaians are fully aware of who Nana Addo is. Mind you, when he chose to expel his national chairman, secretary, the vice chairman, a few other people from his party, many renowned Ghanaians invited him to admonish him. They counseled him that is not the right way to go. When people disagree with you, learn to bring them together. Let them see the error in their ways and lead them to where you feel is the right objective. Over time, they'll buy where you are going. He disobeyed virtually everybody. He disobeyed virtually everybody. I'm only reluctant to mention names. But if you remember, one of our revered chiefs or even king in this country
I do remember.
has attempted to foster unity within the ranks of the MPP. But Nana Addo snubbed him. He never took his counsel seriously. He treated him with disdain.
Because he's so full of
his disdain. I have picked an information today that having landed on the tarmacs of Kumasi International Airport, the Zongo chiefs were waiting quietly for Nana Addo to pay a courtesy call on them. I mean, they were highly anticipating. And that is because the advance team had gone to inform them that Nana Addo would be there. They sat for hours. Nana Addo never showed up. until they got tired and they left. How can
Very
a
disrespectful.
leader who is gunning for the most powerful position in our land treat our Zongo chiefs in this manner?
And yet he said he had a Zongo fund.
Development fund. I do not know.
I haven't forgotten the promise to build vertical and horizontal high-rise building in the Zongos to convert all the slums. I haven't forgotten that.
I think
Page 5.
the promises are many.
Oh.
You know, my favorite promise that was broken happens to be a polytechnic in each district.
Oh, and then this
Of
time
course, a polytechnic in each district.
and then this time we have a one district, one factory.
One factory. The dams, have you forgotten? A village per dam. Later, when the president educated them that there are dugouts, then they revised their notes that, well, they will do some wells, some boreholes, and possibly some dugouts. You see, they have no clue. And the most annoying part of all is the continuous creation of an impression as though they have never been in government.
Yes.
Who
I
do
said
this,
they
who
should not
do
be
that.
forgiven. They should not pretend as if they are new to this political game.
I mean, you remember.
They are not, yes.
You remember those times. People were lying the streets of Accra with yellow gallons looking for water.
4 gallons.
Those in Adenta, Medina, Agbogba, Asalibotri could attest to this. They suffered over decades. He promised the good people of this country that water supply, both urban and rural water supply, would be up. What did we see? A paltry 2 percentage points in some of them, in certain instances. But this is a government. This is a government that has shown obvious commitment to the plight of the people. Let me go back to Ashanti region, for instance.
Indeed.
Dawood, Asante Mampo has had water challenges for a long while.
Okay.
Because Kwame Nkrumah built a water treatment plant for them that was able to supply Mampong and its surrounding 2.5 million gallons of water per day. But this government realized that cannot meet the demands of the people in the area. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama committed $21.6 million. As I speak to you today, we are producing 10.5 million gallons of water per day for the people of
Very
Asante Mampong.
significant.
It is not only for the people of Mampong. Mampong is benefiting, Nsuta is benefiting, Beposu is benefiting,
Absolutely.
and is stretching even to part of Efija Setre East District. You know,
Amazing.
cleverly, he has realized part of Beposu and beyond are not benefiting. They also have perennial water problems, and these have spanned periods over decades. So he decided to commence a project called the 3Ks.
Okay.
That is a Kumewu, Konongo, Kwewu Rich Water Project.
That's a very interesting.
Wonderful. And during the accounting to the people's store, we went to inspect progress of work on the Kumewu District Hospital. Then the chief, Nana Kumewu Hini, made a remarkable comment. Nana Kumewu Hini, if you know him, he's a medical doctor.
Yeah.
So he cannot just speak without available evidence.
Indeed.
Without available evidence. So Barima Safo Twinibwa Kodria gave JM a title that is Osia Diayo.
This is in Ashanti region.
Yes, Osia Diayo, because he promised the people of Kumewu that he would provide water for them, and he's working on the water provision.
Okay.
Why wouldn't they be upbeat about his coming? So when Kumewu traditionally, that is known to be a UP-NPP area, is shifting towards development, would you blame them?
No.
You cannot blame them. They are only choosing development over violence.
Indeed.
And I think everybody else in Ashanti region is beginning to do so. It never ended there. Barikese and its surrounding area, they also had water challenges. We know of the Barikese Water Dam project. His Excellency has increased the supply of water to 27 million gallons of water per day.
Interesting.
So many communities around this area are also beneficiaries of this magnificent edifice and
Okay.
monumental project.
Okay.
It could go on and on, but the point must be made that Ashanti, in terms of water supply, has also benefited tremendously from the efforts
I'll
of
come
His
back
Excellency
so
John
that we
Dramani
talk
Mahama.
about specific developmental project as you've just enumerated that is happening in Ashanti region. But let me announce the text line. You could also join us in the conversation via our social media platform, facebook.com/Joy News on TV, facebook.com/Joy News on TV. Also on WhatsApp number 0560 800,000, 0560 800,000. And already I have the messages coming in thick and fast. This one says, this MPP
party. Yes, they can fool some people sometime, but not all the people all the time. JM Tuasu, as a Sule off town. Okay, let me. This one says most voters find it hard locating the position of their favorite or their preferred presidential candidate on the ballot paper, especially those with poor vision and rural folks. You didn't put your name. Okay, this is from KB, Cape Coast. KB, the Electoral Commission would start enrolling some educational programs on TV and on radio, essentially to educate voters on what to do on the voting day. Even prior to that, I am perfectly aware that the Center for Civic Education has also done some work, and they are still doing it, trying to educate the electorate on what to do on voting day. The target by NCCE, National Commission on the Civic Education, their target is to reduce the number of spoiled ballots. The more the spoiled ballots, the lesser the impact of voter education is perceived to be, and so their target is to reduce it. And so this particular worry is being taken care of, KB. This one says, I want to tell my Muslim brothers if they should vote on vice presidential slot, Bawumia wouldn't get the slot as running mate. This is from Awa Mohammed Prestia. And this one says, please kindly tell me what this government has done to help or improve the life and conditions of teachers from Bright Chinderi voter region. Okay, Bright, your concerns will be addressed. Okay, so some of the messages, the shorthand is a bit difficult to read. I would plead with you to keep the messages very short and, if possible, in full sentences. I'll be most grateful so I could share your views to the rest of the world. Good. Specific developmental projects in the Ashanti region that you think will resonate with the people. You made a classic submission on the water projects and the particular district that you mentioned. I'm sure there are many other similar projects of different phases.
Too many of them. Let me begin from roads.
Okay.
You and I are aware that roads have been done virtually everywhere.
Indeed.
Ashanti has benefited fairly. In addition to Kumasi Township roads, that we have provided asphalt over 70 kilometers within Kumasi itself. The other communities have equally benefited from roads. I recalled when a colleague or a friend of mine was nominated for the DC-ship of Sechere Afam Plains South, what we popularly call Drobonso.
Okay.
His confirmation, I was very reluctant to go for the confirmation because of the deplorable state of the road from Kumewu to Drobonso. A road that ideally you could ply over 1 hour period. Then you would have to use about 3.5 hours because the road was in bad shape. Okay. Today, as I speak to you, that road is state of the art. That you could even use 45 minutes to ply the route. And Drobonso is a classical case of the transformational agenda. This is a rural community. There was no electricity. Even phone calls, you may have to rely on radio communication. It was excluded, social exclusion. But when the district was carved, government has committed to guaranteeing the happiness and freedoms of the people. You cannot have any development in an area of this nature without good roads, without power, without communication, and all the fundamentals of development. Through the many efforts of the Ministry of Communication. Today, the good people of Drobonso could make phone calls. I recall then getting to our constituency executives was a difficulty. You may have to call the DC through radio, Then the DC will send somebody with a motorbike to go and inform the constituency. Yes, that is Ghana.
21st Ghana.
Yes,
21st
that is,
century
this
Ghana.
is the nation that is being transformed. When people sit on radio and TV without any iota of appreciation for the difficulties our rural folks are going through, and on the same premise, acknowledging efforts that are being made by the government to improve on the plight of the people, then you are worried. Today, Dobonzo has been transformed. They have power, they have water, they have good roads, they can freely make phone calls. I can now call my constituency chairman, and he picks gladly. That is a transformational agenda. Aside the Kumewu Dobonzo Road, we have been able to do from the Bonfa Junction to Isiwa Road. Okay. It equally used to be a very terrible road. But I know this road, you will know about it. That is the Bekwai, Fomena, Adansi Asokwa, all the way through New Edubiasi to Asim Praso, through the River Praso.
Yes.
It was a bad road. I recall somewhere in 2007, I used that road, and it took us about 4 hours to travel from Fomena to the River Praso. It was terrible. It must never be. But today, as I speak to you, thankfully, through the hard work of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, that road is one of the beautiful roads, one of the delightful scenes to watch in the Ashanti region. That notwithstanding, Obuasi Dunkwa, Ayamfori Road, it equally used to be a very bad road. Today, that road has also seen a lot of work, and the many other roads that have seen some phase uplift within the region. That is just for the road sector. Let me take you to the health sector.
Please.
You are fully aware that Konfanoche has happened to be serving multiple purposes.
Indeed.
It is a referral hospital, a specialist hospital, and a teaching hospital. Just Konfanoche Teaching Hospital. And Kumasi is populous. Ashanti region undoubtedly has a population. The continuous reliance on Konfanoche would only break the systems. It is unattainable to continue to rely exclusively on Konfanoche. Within the 8-year period of the MPP, President John Agyekum Kufuor only added an emergency center. Even that one, he couldn't do it in his first term. He did it in his second term. As I speak to you today, not only has Konfanoche itself benefited from a lot of developmental projects, but we are building a 500-bed military hospital at Afari, at the Chuma Ubeja district, to serve the peri-urban community in that area. We have not only ended it there, we have also continued to build a 250-bed regional hospital at Sewa in the Bosontri district. It's also a peri-urban developing area, which means people may not have to move all the way from their peri-urban areas into the city proper. Because the traffic is growing and is building daily. You cannot have easy access to Konfanoche when you are moving from Atonsu, Monaco. It's not possible. You cannot have easy access to Konfanoche when you are moving from Adoberua. It therefore makes sense that those who are moving from Achuma Mponia, Achuma Ubeja, Ahafwano North, Ahafwano South, and all these enclaves could have a referral hospital at their disposal. A reason a visionary leader had decided to provide one for them. Cleverly, it is taking shape, I'm certain, that not long after now, when God grants that which has already been, cemented, we would continue and complete the project to benefit the many people of Ashanti region. Awesome. But we never ended it there. I know you are fully aware about the Dodowa Hospital.
Indeed.
How beautiful the Dodowa Hospital
Wonderful,
is.
if you ask me.
Well, it's not only Greater Accra that is enjoying that facility. Ashanti is equally benefiting from its fair share. We are having actually two. One at Kumewu and one at Fomena. The same architecture. Beautiful edifice, monumental. Our children will come and applaud us. So pretty. And not only that, Bekwai is equally benefiting from 120 bed. Tepa is benefiting from 60 bed. Konungu is benefiting from 6. I could go on and on. The very day I heard Nanado say that in the unlikely event he becomes president, he would ensure every district has a hospital. I said, what district? Does Fomena need a hospital again?
No.
Does Bekwai need a hospital
Clearly
again?
He hasn't done his homework well.
Would Tepa need a hospital again? I do not know who is briefing him, but he must fire him. He has been misbriefed because we are already providing the facility. Between us and them, who is capable of delivering, particularly when we are already delivering? We have shown that granted an opportunity will transform the plight of the people completely. We have shown true commitment to development. We have not paid lip service to the many promises we have made to the good people of this country. Granted, we have not transformed Ashanti region overnight into a heaven. We never promised that. Governance is a continuum. Okay. What we can do today is a clear demonstration of what we can do tomorrow.
Indeed.
What matters is we are doing a lot, and the people are appreciative of what we are doing. So the crowd you saw on Saturday did not happen. The crowd is a product of hard work.
Indeed.
It's a culmination of labor. If you have done all this, you have provided all these and beyond, why wouldn't the people love you? So when Nanado is touring Ashanti region and the crowd is unenthusiastic, and the morale is low, vim in camp is so low, then you are complaining. Why do you complain? Who would follow you forever when you have clearly demonstrated that you lack the clue to provide development and leadership for the people? His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is doing just that for Ashanti Mine. And Ashanti Mine is showing enough gratitude. They will consolidate that gratitude on the 7th of December. A reason we are confident that 1 million votes is plausible. 1.5 will be the icing on the cake. But we are working hard. I continue to be modest. I will surprise Ghana. Let the pundits turn their eyes and see and watch Ashanti region and observe what we will give to the good people of this country. But we are more than capable.
Yes, that's very interesting. Very, very interesting. We still have some minutes to go. But let me just bring to your attention. The president repeated in Volta region that he has extended a hand of invitation to Dr. Mahmoud, Akufo-Addo.
You have forgotten. You thought he's a flag bearer.
Clearly,
it does happen.
Yeah, I wonder which of them is the flag bearer. I mean, sometimes. So really, that he should come for one-on-one debate, regardless of whichever platform, because he believes, Akufo-Addo, you've been talking so much. I mean, you talk a lot. How about you come, you face me, you bring your point one after the other. I have the answers to them. I would address them. I would answer them. Akufo-Addo is here to respond. I don't know what you think about that.
Mr. President, respectfully, I crave your indulgence to disengage. Nanado will not show up. You must go to the table with something. He has none. How can you go and debate and convince your own home people, whom you have served in a capacity as an MP for 12 years, and all you could bequeath to them is to superintend over Galamsey? You have not been able to be useful in provision of your water for your people, not even drinking water. How can you debate? How can you debate and make any logical conclusion for the good people of Kumasi, who over the years have known that KJTR happens to be the biggest open-air market in West Africa, but you have never seen the need to transform that market into an ultra-modern one. Somebody has come, and today, the single most expensive capital investment in the history of Ashanti is KJTR Market Project. $298 million. Phase 1, 10,000 stores.
Somebody say the money is big.
It's huge. They deserve it.
Yes.
Even more. It's huge. $298 million. 10,000 stores in phase 1. The objective is to provide 45,000 stores when the whole project is completed. That will position Kumasi and Ashanti region as a commercial hub within the Middle Belt and probably even on a larger scale within Ghana.
Okay.
This is a visionary leader. He never only ended it on KJTR. Today, if you have visited Kumasi in recent times, one of the places I would have sent you to is called Ratri Park.
Yes.
It's a recreational center.
Yes.
It's a recreational center. Children are there happily playing around. They enter something, they appear in the other. Nobody thought it wise to provide such a center for us. But the president has thought it wise to provide a recreational center. I visit there regularly with my wife and family. It is a wonderful place. It's a wonderful place to be.
Indeed.
And any visitor I get, of course, a delightful scene to behold, especially in the evening.
Indeed.
There's a dancing fountain.
Oh,
of
like
course.
that one in Dubai.
Of course. So for us in Kumasi, the comment has been same. Abrochia Kumasi.
Indeed. London, Ghana.
So indeed, we are only grateful for the many developmental projects. He has not only provided for KJTR market women, Asokore Mampong market project is also ongoing. That the Asawase enclave, they are highly, hardworking, but there should be a market where the women could also go and transact business. It's quite a distance from KJTR. So you cannot only do KJTR and ignore the people of Asokore Mampong. So as I speak to you today, that market is also seeing a facelift.
Indeed.
And again, if you know Tafo is equally further from KJTR. I will not be very comfortable moving from Anya overseas to come to KJTR for market. It's impracticable.
Okay.
So in the wisdom of the president, there was a need to pitch one market at Tafo, that those who are in that enclave could also have access to market. This is visionary leadership. And so when we are playing and blaring our songs, dancing around together with Ghanaians, because they are a clear manifestation of development. They are engulfed with development. They are feeling development. Then you sit somewhere and make, vague promises. I will deliver this. I will give this. I'll give one cow per this. I mean, are we joking? We are not joking.
One doctor, one patient. But let's talk about job creation quickly before we leave. I noticed the focus of the MPP 2016 campaign is about job creation. I know.
Yes.
I haven't forgotten. In 2000, their manifesto at page 20, they said they are going to provide job for everybody who is willing and able to work.
Well, my sister
And
queued.
people, yes, I queued.
My sister queued for job.
I queued.
She was enlisted, nothing happened.
I queued. I queued at Newtown. I would never forget
We
that.
have been
In
taken
the
for
hot
granted.
Scottish sun. I know about the Kumasi shoe factory.
Let me brief you.
Please, that
You see,
created jobs. The
this
NDC
is
is promising more jobs.
Let me even brief you about the shoe factory. How interesting the shoe factory is. It's one of the projects Dr. Kwame Nkrumah brought.
Okay.
The shoe factory. It's part of the many projects that he was executing.
Okay.
And the UP tradition said it was dissipation of public funds.
Yes,
so it
we've
should
always
discontinue.
maintained.
The same plight GM is suffering today.
Exactly.
That Kaswa interchange is a dissipation
I
of public
remember
fund.
Temamutu
Circle is a
and Kwame
dissipation of
Nkrumah.
public fund. The policy advisor to Nanado said it's a Jaco. I mean, that should tell you the direction they have. Policy advisor.
They never
saying
change.
this. Now, the shoe factory has been revamped as I speak to you today. Currently, it employs 200 people directly.
Okay.
But it has the capacity to employ over 2,500 people.
That's great.
And it can also produce annually over 700,000 sandals and shoes.
Oh.
Yes, granted, they could do that.
Okay.
I think recently they were able to provide about 10,000 sandals
Okay.
for the school children.
Yeah, for the school children,
For the
yes.
school children. I think, if my memory serves me right, I think Customs also approached them and they provided
Okay.
some
Their
for them.
boots.
Their
Okay.
boots for them. But I'm only talking about direct jobs.
Okay.
200 and 2,500 capacity direct jobs.
Okay.
What about the many indirect jobs? You see, what people tend to forget, you cannot build hospitals without nurses.
Yes.
You cannot build hospitals without doctors.
Absolutely.
Even in the construction process itself, you need steel benders.
Yes.
You need welders. You need, carpenters. You need many
The
other
list goes
people.
on and on.
These are all forms of job creation.
Yes.
There is no ideal situation in which you create jobs
Typical white-collar
without a
job.
running visible. And you see, what is more risible? What is more risible is this impression that you can have a public sector that can continue to absorb everybody.
Okay.
Very advanced countries, they are now shrinking their public sector because it's not productive. What you do is to open up, allow a private sector-led growth, and that can only happen when you have access roads, you have power, reliable power supply and energy sufficiency and security, when you have water extended to virtually every enclave in this country. That is when people will be very comfortable to go and grow tomatoes internally, in the hope that there will be an international airport to freight the tomatoes immediately to the market in Europe.
Yes.
That is how governance is done.
It's very sad that we've run out of time. But it's been a pleasure, believe me, having you here. I hope that when we call upon you the next time, you would not fail to grant us the honor.
Anytime.
It's been a pleasure having you here.
Same.
And thank you very much for watching. As always, I will promise to bring you the best. Inshallah, next week Wednesday we'll be here. Till then, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.